guidelines as to what you're doing. If you're in the States, we would probably talk about ethics managers. Much less common in Britain, much more common in the States side of things. Equally though, the big accounting companies like KPMG have got involved in ethical consultancy, particularly for companies that don't know what it is. It's quite a handy kind of business to sell. People will come and sort out your ethics for you, give you a code of ethics and a program by which you can monitor your performance. You may have away days for the staff, how to treat customers more nicely, how to do business with purchasers without accepting bribes. If you're even more open like Body Shop, you may have all sorts of consultation programs. And finally, last of all, you need some way of measuring it. As in my very first session to you, when we look at corporate social responsibility, when we look at annual accounts now for companies like Sainsbury's and Tesco's and Marks and Spencer's, it's not all figures like it used to be 10 years ago. There's some kind of pages and pages of narrative about our goals, our values, what we have achieved, the kind of corporate responsibility statement. So there's got to be some kind of auditing and accounting process by which you can say what you've done and how well you've done it. One of the first points to note is that so far there's no kind of one-size-fits-all approach, whereas if you're running a company in Britain, you've got to submit annual accounts. There is a one-size-fits-all. There are laid down procedures by which your accounts must be stated, your profit and loss must be stated, and you must comply with those procedures. As regards ethics reporting, there aren't any particular one-size-fits-all laid down approaches, so you can kind of make it up as you go along. Different people do things differently. There are two. So, for instance, when we look at, say, Marks and Spencer's, excuse me, terrible cough. Marks and Spencer's has a mission statement to be the UK's most trusted retailer. The question is, how do you put flesh on that? How do you put flesh on being the retailer, becoming the most trusted retailer in the UK? What does that mean? Is it a question of how you treat the customers? Is it how you treat the suppliers? Is it how you treat the staff? Is it a mixture of all those things? You know, where do you be? What is your mission statement coming to the top? So, in a sense, there's two particular emphases on managing ethics. The first one is very much a US approach. When we think of things like Enron, sort of corporate fraud, you've got very much the kind of US approach, concerned with employee behaviour, that they haven't got their fingers in the till, that they're not abusing their position in some ways to the disadvantage usually of the shareholders. Or, of course, managers, not just employees. Managers is the worst problem. That's the US approach. The European approach is a much more in line with what we looked at in Chapter 2, the corporate social responsibility agenda. So the European EU approach is much more looking at broader social responsibilities that the organisation might want to have or actually has. So kind of distinct sort of difference there between both sides of the Atlantic. Britain's a bit sort of as usual, halfway between Europe and America. So I suppose in Britain we get a bit of both. But there is that divide. Okay, how do we design a set of ethical codes? Well, what do we need to do? We need to do a number of things. The first thing is, we need a definition. Codes of ethics are voluntary statements. So they're voluntary for a start. You don't have to do these things. There aren't legal requirements to have ethical codes of ethics. So they're voluntary. They do commit organisations, then underline the specific values, beliefs and values. So I'll underline that. Specific values, and actions. Beliefs, values and actions. And that sets out appropriate behaviour for employees. And then you've got sort of four main types of ethical code. Well, the first one is a kind of straightforward corporate code of ethics. So that could be, kind of Marks and Spencer's value statement. Go to any kind of Marks and Spencer's nowadays up the road in Ealing, refinement of. It's currently 4 key values concerned with fair trade, concerned with recycling, concerned with care of the environment, and something else I can't remember. But they're splattered all over the stores, you've got. So M&S has its code of ethical behaviour concerning all those various aspects. Secondly, we have the professions. So when we talk about this, the behaviour, say, of a doctor or a dentist, because we are concerned that doctors and dentists behave, especially dentists, behave sensibly, ethically, when they're dealing with you. Who regulates them? Powerful people. Like dentists. Who regulates the behaviour of doctors and dentists? No, the NHS is an employer. No, that's not trustees. No. Yes, the BMA, British Medical Association. So, and that regulates GP ethical behaviour. And if a GP behaves scandalously with a female patient, what happens to him? No, he doesn't get sacked. BMA doesn't employ him. Struck off. Yes, that's a sanction. Yeah, a sanction is the licence to practice, or of course you get struck off. It means you can't practice. You're not a doctor. It's like taking your degree away, trying to get out from the stress. You can't. You can't be a doctor.
Is there a time limit on it?
You're struck off, yeah.
Is there a time limit on it?
No, not usually. No. Usually doctors are struck off the register, means they're never going to be doctors again.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. So